guys, welcome back to Day-to-Day Chess. This is Sabina, and I've decided to make a slight change in the plan that I mentioned to you yesterday. So as I woke up this morning, I saw my Facebook full of happy birthday wishes for Magnus Carlsen, because today's his birthday. It's his 25th birthday. Happy birthday, Magnus, if you are watching this video, if you'll ever be watching this video. We all wish you a very beautiful day, and we hope you had fun, and we're looking forward to a lot of beautiful games by you. So since it is his birthday, I could not just show some of my games from the first World Online Women's Blitz Chess Championship. I hope you agree with me. So tomorrow, though, I promise that no matter whose birthday it is, I'm going to show you some of my games, and hopefully you will enjoy them. Okay, so for today, I've chosen Magnus's win against Sergey Karjakin in 2013 at the Tata Steel. I really hope you're going to enjoy this game. It's one of my favorite games of his. Of course, he has so many great games, but this just impressed me so much, and probably impressed a lot of people of his Anaconda style. So let's just enjoy this game. We have here the Reti system, castle, bishop, g4, c4. Okay, and black decided to adopt a system that's very solid. So putting a pawn in the center, developing the bishop from c8, which in general, when we're playing d5 against d4 or c4, normally we don't really have good spots for it. So it's good that black developed it in g4. Eventually, this bishop is going to be traded for the knight in f3. And what is black going to do? Well, strengthen the pawn in d5, just making sure that pawn is going to remain very nicely protected and will always have a central pawn with black. d3, very typical for white. And here, once the knight got developed in d7, it's quite clear that after c takes d5, black will not be capturing with the c pawn in d5 because, you know, I mean, we don't have the knight to come to c6, and also in general, both players are trying to play for some win, right? This is quite a symmetrical position, so black's knight in d7 is not that well placed. We definitely want it in c6, so this won't really, in general, be played. So we will see most likely e takes d5, which is exactly what happened in the game. Queen c2. Normally, knight c3 would be the normal move in this position, but through transposition, we're really getting to the same position. And after knight c3, white is getting ready to play e4. This is one of the ideas in this position. And another plan that white could have is try to do the minority attack and create some weakness on the queen side. So when we're playing this English style positions, we always want to either counterattack the center with e4 or b4, b5, you know, on the other side. And here, I dislike a little bit black's response to capturing in f3 immediately, because he gives up the bishop pair, but in the same time, he stops a little bit the e4 from happening. So, you know, you always have to put it on a balance and make the choice of what you think is best for you. Probably I would have gone for castle here with black, but after e4, the position would probably be about equal. So, okay, let's check out the game a little bit. d4 was played here by Sergey Karjakin. Knight e4, of course. Castle. Okay, seems like a natural approach by black, you know, trying to finish up the development. And this d4, of course, was to stop this e4 breakthrough. In the same time, we have to notice that, again, putting it on a balance, you have to make decisions. Every single game you have to make decisions. Sometimes you have to make decisions that might be a little bit painful, but what to do? So d4 stops e4 from happening, but in the same time opens up a little bit this bishop in f3. So whenever white is going to prepare to play some b4, a4, b5, the bishop will be opened, and white's bishop pair is going to be to prove to be a little bit more powerful than the bishop and the knight. But until then, there's a really long way, so black still has many ways to to keep the position solid. Knight takes f6, and here Karjakin capture back with the knight. Bishop takes f6 was another possibility in this position, but of course immediately white would have played b4, starting the counterattack on the queen side, and of course, like I told you, a4 b5 is the plan to open up this light square bishop. But after knight takes f6, bishop d2 was played by Magnus. He, you can't, you don't really want to give the pawn, right, with b4. So, I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, maybe black would not capture due to rook b1, and if queen e7, maybe queen b3, and white is going to be able to capture that pawn. But after b4, maybe black could think of playing some knight d5 and keeping the position somewhat still, keeping this bishop in f3 somewhat still closed. Anyways, bishop d2 was Magnus's choice, and I like it. We have to finish our development after all. So a5 though. And now black is trying to restrict white from playing b4. It is clear that that's white's plan. a3, Magnus, preparing b4 once again. Now knight d5, another move that stops the b4. For example, here in this position, if black would have played a4, which is the typical move in this position, well, most likely b3 would have followed, and okay, a4 is typical, but so is b3. And after capture, queen takes b3. This pawn is going to push until a5 and make sure it stabilizes this pawn in b7, and white is going to play for that weakness. At some point, why not? Even an a6 would be possible. So after knight d5, rook b1, of course. So you see, in a game of chess that's played between two top players, it always happens this way. They both have ideas, they both have some plans to follow, and then they stop each other from making those plans. And in general, if the game is played correctly, it will end in a draw. But of course, sometimes some players are more creative than others in specific games, and they can manage to find ways to improve their position, although it doesn't look natural, really, whatever they find. And this is exactly what you're going to see in this game. Rook f to c1, and again, another typical move. The plan of white is going to be happening on the queen side. We really need to find a way to break through. And then, of course, black is going to try something on e2, but really there's not that much to do. Only if we would play some g4, g5, chasing this bishop away, and then e2 would be weak. Otherwise, you see this bishop in f3 is a really good defender, and the king is well defended, so white's plan is clear. Black's plan is not so clear. However, it seems that white is not that ready to play b4, so queen c4 was played by Magnus, attacking, of course, the pawn d4 and forcing black to retreat a little bit. And now h4. From here on, you're going to see just improvement moves and moves with some very little tricky ideas. First, h4. This is a nice move when you know that you have a bishop that's controlling the light squares around your king. This pawn structure is always good to stop any kind of attacks on the king side. And at some point, why not? We can maybe move the king and bring a rook on the h-file if something would get opened. a4, black stabilizes the position on the queen side, bishop b4. So in this position, Magnus decided to trade the dark square bishop because, for example, if black would be capturing here, queen takes, now we've got one weakness there, one weakness here, another one here, It's not very easy for black to hang on to all of them, and the knight does not have a good outpost. You cannot put it in d5 anymore because you'd lose the pawn in d4, so you would have to put it in e6, and then maybe I can play b3. Like I showed you earlier, open up the b-file, putting some pressure, and white is just going to be pressing. So, of course, black does not want to trade the bishop, but, okay, what to do? So, knight b5, king g2, a little improvement move. This rook can come there. And in fact, h6, bishop c5, improving the position. Now queen b4 could be a threat. Queen b4 was exactly the move that Magnus played. And here, Sergey Karjakin decided not to trade the bishops. Like I said, like for example here, if you trade, rook takes c5, then we'll be playing b3, trading this pawn, a4, chasing the knight away, d4 is going to be weak, b7 is going to be weak. White has some clear ideas. So that is the reason why Sergey Karjakin went for bishop f6, keeping the bishop on the board, and it seems that white doesn't have that much space, a white trade. And here, Magnus found a really beautiful idea. Queen d2 first, king g7. Now rook c4, making sure black is going to be staying to defend these two pawns, specifically this one, has to play rook a6 to double up and make sure that pawn is going to be defended. Queen d1 with tempo to a4. b6 was black's reaction. I think this is just a weakness. Rook a to a8, of course. That was the reason why rook a6 was played. Should have been played by black, and you know, we should not weaken our position unless it's really necessary. Remember this. So after b6 in this position, bishop b4, still a4 is going to be a weakness because my bishop is coming back to d2, and my rook still will attack the pawn, my queen will still attack the pawn, so how are you going to defend it? Bishop d2, knight c7, and in this position, rook c1 back, knight d5, and it seems like, oh my god, okay, what do we do with white? Okay, if we play b3, black kind of managed to get their rook out of the pin, push the pawns on dark squares. It's not going to be that easy to attack the pawns anymore. What do we do? And here's where Magnus's Anaconda style came into place, and he went for queen h1. It's a really original and interesting move. I mean, you think in this position, okay, maybe they'll play a little bit longer, offer a draw. No, not at all. That is not Magnus's style. Queen h1. He's going for the improvement of the position as much as he can. Bishop e7. Now king g1. Check out the knight. Rook d8. Now rook c2. Slowly, you see, I mean, once on one side, once on another side. It reminds me a little bit of Capablanca, so some mix between some world champions. I still can't figure out which ones exactly, but this is amazing. A little bit on one side, a little bit on the other side. Queen now gets to g2, and you're going to see why this queen is so important here. Rook a7, rook e1, making sure this is well protected. At some point, we will think of some pushing. King h2. Black is just saying what to do. I mean, queen h3. So I, as black, well, not me, Magnus tried to trade the queens, and he managed to do so. And now with the queen in h3, I mean, you can't just go with the queen somewhere because I'll be thinking to play h5. So black has to trade the queens, and after king takes, we've got this position. So we got the queens traded off the board. Now we can think of how to create more weaknesses. So he went back rook to b1, king g2, rook to a6, b3. Okay, trading that pawn, that's fine. Now bishop f6, rook c4. Let's just enjoy this game. And here, you know, the position is still super equal. We went with that queen on the other side to get it traded, just to get it traded. We had to do so many maneuvers, and now we are just improving our position as much as we can. a4, you know. Knight c3, I don't like this move very much. I think it was a mistake from black's side. I think there's no, it's not necessary to play knight c3. Black probably had to just take king g7. There's really, it's very tough for white to improve in this position. After knight c3, bishop f4, very good move from Magnus. You have to go rook e6, otherwise you'll be losing your pawn. And now e3. Now it's the right time to break through the position, because you can't take, obviously, in e3, because you take back, and then if you take in a4, for example, we can go bishop d5, and you don't have a good square for the rook. You have to go, I mean, if you go to e8, there's bishop c6. If you go to e7, there's bishop d6. So definitely this is not a good solution for black. That's why knight takes a4 was played, and here bishop d5, rook e7, Bishop d6. I mean, what to do? You have to give away the material. So this was the little problem with black because he played knight c3. Okay, rook e7, bishop d6. So you see, slowly improving the position. Maybe I'm thinking maybe bishop c6 was a better choice because like now you have to move the knight, because if you play rook a7 there's gonna be, if you play in this position after bishop c6, oopsie, I'm sorry, my computer doesn't want to play. Okay, if we play in this position rook a7, there's just going to be bishop e8 and you're going to lose your exchange. So knight c3, of course we can capture, pawn takes, and here bishop d6. This might have been a better choice than to just play bishop d6 directly, because now maybe black would have played knight c3 and after capture bishop takes, and we don't really have a good spot for the bishop because b5 is coming. So white would have to, in this position, capture in c3, and this is probably draw. So knight c3, you know, was a possibility for black. Sergey Karjakin missed it. He went for b5 directly, and of course bishop takes, rook takes b5. So Magnus has gotten to a winning position. He messed up a little bit. Karjakin didn't utilize that mistake, and now Magnus is again winning, is having a winning endgame. And it's tough though, because if ever we're going to give some more material back, there's going to be bishop opposite color bishops, right? And here we're actually forced to give some more material back, because how are we going to save the bishop? We don't want to give, right, the bishop and remain with bishop and knight versus rook. So white has to give away that rook back, check, and now bishop takes c4. And here white is so much better, supposedly should be winning, but it's very tough. I mean, it's still opposite color bishop. How are we going to utilize this? And well, it's Magnus, it's very nice. We've got this weakness in c7. In f7, I apologize. In f7, the rook is being attacked right now. We can start pushing the pawns, create a pass pawn. Black's only pawn that could become a pass pawn, right? This one is blocked. So this position is definitely in white's advantage. But let's see how we can win, because it's not very easy. f4, I like this move a lot. Just putting another pawn on the color of the opponent's bishop. Bishop g6, rook e8. Okay, and here is just a matter of bringing our pieces slowly. Rook b1, e5. First e5 to create our entrance through e4, d5. We shouldn't, right? Otherwise we have no way to improve. So a very important and beautiful technique chosen by Magnus. Rook e1, king f2. Rook b1. Okay, and here I believe he could have maybe won after rook a7. And if we go king there, maybe some bishop g5, just giving the move, or maybe king f3 in this position. I think this was an interesting way to approach the position. Rook e8 works as well though. Attacking the bishop, you have to go bishop f8, and now, okay, he played rook c8, but basically he got into a similar position. They're just repeating a little bit here. Okay, king f2 back, attacking the bishop back. So here's just like a little bit of repetition. And in this position, Magnus came with another creative idea. I mean, it's not very easy how to progress this position. Okay, we can try to attack the pawn, but he's going to keep the bishop in e7, king in f8. If we play, for example, e6 in this position, this would be a possibility, but after capture, it's going to be hard to attack g6. So Magnus saw another beautiful move, and that was g4. I love this move. I mean, it will have been a draw actually, but it's a very nice way to continue the game to try to play for a win. And now h5, a very good move. And of course, if black had taken g takes h5, it would probably have led to a draw after f5, h4, and for example, I mean, it looks like this position is not going to be good for black because we're winning a piece. You have to go here. You cannot go king g8 in this position. After king g8, after e6, I believe black is going to lose very fast. So king g6, and now rook takes f8. And the only good move in this position is king f5. And the idea is, of course, if you push, for example, e6 in this position, you're going to lose immediately. So definitely don't do that. But after, there are no checks behind to try to win those pawns. So after rook h8, for example, we can give some checks, maybe some perpetual checks. Here, the king cannot go too far from the pawns because black is going to start pushing them. So white has to really stay with the king in f2, g1, and the position would be a draw. But it's not very simple to see that idea to play king f5, and there are no more checks, and e6 is not possible. So here in this position, Sergey Karjakin blundered. He went for rook h1, after which the win by Magnus Carlsen was really nice. So bishop d5 attacking the rook, king g3, king takes g4. So slowly getting the pawns back. g6 is weak, and I'm going to remain with two linked passed pawns, and they are going to go for a queen. This was a slight mistake. Bishop e4 was winning instantaneously. And after f5, okay, rook here, check. And okay, from here on the game is just beautiful. White is going for the queen, of course not letting black to go for a queen. Black's king is stuck in the corner. Rook g2, very good move. Now we can trade the rooks because the opposite color bishop endgame is totally winning. We have the pawns on black, right? So the opposite color of our bishop on the same color as theirs, so they cannot give away the bishop for the pawns, and we are going to be able to win. And it was quite simple from here on. Bishop a3 to stop the pawn from promoting, but now the king went really too far, so it's not going to get back in time to stop those two pawns. King c6 and e7, after which Karjakin resigned. So I made a little bit of a longer video than normally. I really hope you enjoyed this game. It's one of my favorites by Magnus. Stay tuned for more, like usually, tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.